This is BBQ Live. I'm Lisa Blackwell, and today we've got a treat for you. We've got Bruce and Billy from Deep South Sauce Company here. They're going to be making a caprese chicken sandwich with a lemony, garlicky green bean side and an everything but the kitchen sink cookie. Oh my goodness, my stomach is growling. I don't know if you can hear it, but I can't wait to try that. Guys, show us how it's done.
Thanks, Lisa.
All right, so like Lisa said, we're going to do a kitchen sink cookie, and basically it is everything but the kitchen sink, which means whatever you want to put in it, you can. I got this recipe when I was taking some cooking classes at Le Cordon Bleu, so I appreciate the chefs there who helped give me this recipe. So it's pretty basic. We're going to put in, you can find a recipe for this, by the way, online when the video is over. We got 4 ounces of granulated sugar, 4 ounces of brown sugar, and a teaspoon of salt. And then we've got 5 ounces of softened butter. And since this has been out today, it's really soft. Now normally I would be using an electric mixer for this, but we'll go old school since we're cooking outside today. And what you want to do is you just want to mix these together until they're what is called cream. But basically you want to try to get rid of a lot of the granularity of the sugar. So I'm going to do this really quick here while Bruce is getting ready for the next thing.
So I'm just prepping real quick, doing some garlic, butter, and lemon that's going to go on our green beans here shortly.
So next we're going to add our eggs. And this is going to give us our liquid, because otherwise everything's going to be a little dry. So those give us some nice texture and the liquid that we need to make sure these don't come out too crunchy. They're going to be nice and soft when we get done. All right, once you have that all mixed up, we've got 10 ounces of pastry flour. Now, if you can't find pastry flour, what you can do is use 5 ounces of all-purpose and 5 ounces of cake flour, which you can find at any grocery store. We've also got a little bit of baking soda and a little bit of baking powder in here as well. Again, the recipe will be online. So we're going to mix this together as I get flour everywhere. And with an electric mixer, this comes together in probably 15 or 20 seconds. It's going to take a little longer doing it by hand here. So once this comes together and most of the flour is incorporated, is when you get to add the flavor. So what I'm going to add today, and you need about 12 ounces of flavored items. So I'm using 3 ounces of peanut butter chips, 3 ounces of white chocolate, 3 ounces of dark chocolate, and 3 ounces of milk chocolate. But you could put in M&Ms or Reese's Pieces, cut up pieces of candy bar, whatever you really want to put in there. So we'll put those in.
Looks like the sun already started the melting process for you.
Yeah, they're a little soft today.
So you're doing that. I'm going to go ahead and take some green beans that I trimmed up earlier. Just snap the edges off. I have a medium-high heat here. I'm just going to go ahead and put them in this vegetable basket.
And the last thing that I'm going to add to mine to really make it everything but the kitchen sink is I'm going to add 3 ounces of mini marshmallows and 2 ounces of pretzels all crunched up. Now that pretzel is going to give that nice salty flavor to counteract a lot of the sweet we have from the chocolates. So you just mix all this together. It's going to take a little while, even in the blender, the hand mixer, because you got to really get all those marshmallows incorporated. Once you get done, it's going to look like this. So it's a real basic cookie dough, but you can see, if you can't see when you do it, you'll see that there's nice chunks of all the chocolates, all the marshmallows. So I'm going to grab my cookie pan. Now the nice thing about this is you can typically do this in the oven, but we're doing outdoor today. So we're going to use our grill. We got a Weber Genesis GS4. I've got it set for indirect at 350. So basically what I've done is I've turned the left burner on, left the middle and the right one off, so I can cook these like I'm cooking them in a convection oven. So I do a lot of baking outside. So we're going to take these, take your cookie scoop, or you can take your hand, and you want to make a golf ball sized little nugget there. Now this is going to be a little soft, so you don't want to press it all the way down, but you do want to give it just a little touch so the top doesn't end up rounded. You end up with a nice round cookie. So I'm going to quickly get 9 of these on the pan here. If you're depending on what size pan you use, you don't want to overcrowd them because they are going to grow a bit. If you have a half sheet pan, you would get 12. A standard cookie pan will get 9. I'm just sort of offsetting them a little bit because we want to make sure, I said, they don't grow together and become one big cookie, which is not a bad thing necessarily, but we're trying to make individual servings. This is a real fun recipe for the kids to help mix up with all the chocolate pieces and the marshmallows. Like I said, just give them a little bit of a touch. Got the grill over here sitting right about 350, 360. Put these on the grill, again indirect with the heat all the way to the left. These are going to take somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes, and it really depends on the weather, your oven or your grill, wherever you're cooking them. So check in on them at about 10. And then you can cook them longer if you want them a little bit crispier. I prefer mine a little chewy, so I want to wait for that soft stage. So while those are cooking, Bruce is going to take over.
Right. Thanks, Billy. I can't wait to try those. So as you kind of notice in the background, I got the green beans going, butter, garlic, and about the juice of half a lemon here in this little cast iron pot over the coals. I did set up my coals on a medium-high heat. I have a cooler zone in the back, hotter zone this way on this Weber Smoky Joe Jr. I really love doing the charcoal, and the charcoal briquettes from Cowboy just is really good. So I've taken some boneless, skinless chicken thighs. I brine them for a couple hours in a 1/4 cup of salt and a 1/4 cup of Italian seasonings that I just got from the grocery store. Brine those for about an hour, took them out and let them air dry for a couple hours. And now I didn't rinse the brine off, so it's already got a good bit of salt and spice on it. I'm going to take Hardin's poultry and seafood seasoning. This stuff is incredible on chicken. And when I also add it in with some gold sauce later, and I'm just going to do the one side, and then I'll get the other side here in a second. The reason I like the Hardin's is it's got a lot of stuff in it, you know, that I like on chicken anyway. So it's got lemon in it. It's got, you know, onion, garlic, all the good flavors that make anything taste good. So got some seasoning on that. Gonna let those go. Now these are fairly thin chicken thighs, so it'll probably take 4 or 5 minutes per side on that. So we'll watch that.
Now, Bruce is a big fan of chicken thighs, and a lot of people like the dark meat. I prefer the chicken breast, the white meat. So you could easily take a chicken breast and cut it in half and make it thin, and do this with chicken breasts as well if you prefer the white meat versus the dark meat.
Yeah, absolutely, Billy. And the recipe that we put online with this will have also that you can substitute with the chicken breast. So why a caprese chicken sandwich? Well, a caprese salad is one of my favorite salads, right? It's just so fresh and refreshing in the summer months. And so I did a little research on where did the caprese salad come from. So interestingly enough, in the 1920s, after World War I, a very patriotic Mason in Italy wanted to do something to show his patriotism for Italy. And of course, you had the representation of the Italian flag. Tomato red, green basil, white with the mozzarella. This has to be buffalo mozzarella, fresh buffalo mozzarella. And the basil traditionally is whole basil when you're doing a salad. And so I've kind of modified that. Normally you would use just a good olive oil on your salad, and I'm going to modify that slightly. But even in the 1920s, it was on the island of Capri where this gentleman was, and it didn't really take off until the 1950s. I'm starting to boil here with my butter. I'm going to go ahead and take that off and set it aside. So it got popular in the 1950s when the Egyptian king, King Farouk, abdicated his throne and was exiled over to the Isle of Capri and asked his chef for a nice, refreshing sandwich during the summer months. And his chef came up with a caprese salad sandwich, vegetarian version. And of course, here at Deep South, we don't do much vegetarian. We're all about smoking and grilling some meat. So I decided to go ahead and add some chicken, keep those Italian flavors to it, and bring in some extra special touches we'll talk about at the end. Now, I've gotten a bun. The bun is up to you. This is just an interesting bun that I liked at the grocery store that kind of fit the size of the chicken. And I'm just putting some olive oil on the bun to really elevate any sandwich. I believe you need to toast the bun. And any bun you can grill off to add some extra flavor and crunch is really just going to elevate it that much more. So I like to put a little oil on it, and then I'm going to put a little salt and pepper.
And Bruce talks about this being a refreshing salad, and when it's a salad or a sandwich as well. If you can find fresh tomatoes, especially during the summer months at a farmer's market, obviously we love to support our local farmers, but fresh tomatoes will make a world of difference in this. The same with mozzarella. You can buy, you know, mozzarella in a liquid in most of the grocery stores, and that salty, briny liquid actually keeps that tasting like it was just fresh made. The closest you can get to fresh made mozzarella, the better this is going to be, because that will start to melt even with just having it on top of the hot chicken. So the fresher local ingredients you can get, you will be surprised at how well it makes a sandwich taste.
Yep, just taking a look at the chicken there. Again, earlier, you know, I went ahead and did my prep earlier and sliced up, and we used our knives here from Gunter Willem. These are incredibly sharp knives, right? And I love them. The version we have, they're easy to clean and just make our lives so much easier when we slice these things. And you'll see when I cut through the sandwich later how easy it's going to come through.
Did you do anything to prep the green beans, Bruce?
Really, all I did to the green beans is just snap the ends off of them, put a little bit of oil on it to just kind of help with the stick of the salt and pepper. And we're just going to kind of let that coat and cook here a little bit. And again, we started this grill maybe 45 minutes before we got started here. Got the charcoal nice and hot and put it on when it was already ashy. That way you don't get flare-ups. Sometimes when you do the chicken thighs, right, it's got some of that fat. It can drip down into the charcoal and flare up on you. So getting your nice bed of coals nice and even and already well heated and not flaming up is really going to help with that regard. Throw that away for me. Again, so back to King Ferric. Well, you know, so he had a sandwich. Great. What does that do? Well, tourism in the 1950s was starting to pick up. So the people going to the Isle of Capri in Italy, tourism, this sandwich became popular at a hotel and really became one of those refreshing things that you could get by street vendors. If you were going to the airport, it was a quick sandwich you could grab and move. So the popularity of the caprese salad and the caprese salad sandwich moved internationally through the tourism at the time after World War II in King Ferric. So that's how it became so popular. And one of the reasons I like it, we decided to do the sandwich at home one night, and we added our True Gold mustard sauce to it instead of the balsamic vinegar, right, that I was going to put on it. Because the True Gold mustard sauce has balsamic vinegar in it, and with the extra pop, it just made the sandwich that much better, right? It was just so much better with the mustard sauce in it and gave it that extra pop. So toasting the bun and the mustard sauce just really gave it that extra piece. And then I got to know the owner of Hardin's, and he gave me some of this poultry seafood seasoning, and I started adding that on the chicken and made it even better. All right, I'm just going to check the temp on the chicken. I don't think it's getting there. I'm looking for about 165 to 170 on the dark meat. So I want it to go get it pretty done. Depending on where I hit it, the chicken's got a little bit of give to it. If you wanted to, if you got some better pieces of chicken and wanted to pound it out, flatten it out a little bit, you could make a wrap out of this as well if you didn't want the full bun. All right, green beans are coming along.
And once those thin pieces of chicken get close to done, they're going to get done really fast. So if you have a thermometer like Bruce was using and you know that they're within 15 or 20 degrees, you want to really keep a close eye on them because they'll get overcooked.
Yep, I'm going to go ahead and grab these green beans. Now I do have a glove under here, and when I grabbed it, it was really hot. So I'm going to go ahead and take this, dump it into our bowl here.
Got it.
Drop that under there. Get that set up. Now, one thing you can do, I got this lemon butter garlic on it. I'm going to just kind of drizzle it over right there, and look at all the garlic chunks coming out. There we go. You can toss that through. Now, if you wanted to go ahead and try it now to see if there was enough lemon on it, enough salt, enough pepper, etc., we're going to go ahead and do that. And see, if you really wanted to elevate it another level, you could take some crumbled feta or something like that and put on there as well. No, I think that has enough lemon. Maybe a little more salt. Sometimes I'm not a good judge of salt. My wife tells me I love salt too much and put too much salt on everything, but I think salt enhances all flavors. Take a look at the chicken. Yeah, Billy mentioned earlier, these Thermopens are my favorite Insta-Reads. We're sitting in the 150, 160 range. We're getting close. I'm going to go ahead and put those over a little bit to the side. Still on the heat, but on the edge of it, so they'll continue to cook. As Billy said, they're so thin, they'll continue to cook pretty well. And I'm going to go ahead and toast off some buns. Again, just toasting off some of these buns just adds that extra crunch and flavor. That olive oil, salt, and pepper will really help accentuate it as well. Give that a few more minutes.
This has a nice outside texture to it too, so as you get the soft cheese, the soft tomato, hopefully well done chicken's going to be nice and tender as well. That outside of that bread having just a bit of crunch is really going to give you a good texture.
Yeah, one thing I like to do is when I buy the mozzarella, I go to the specialty cheese section and they have some that's already sliced. And before I pulled it apart while it was still cold, so it was easier, and then I left it out here for a little bit so it softens up just a little bit when it goes on the sandwich. There we go. Starting to get a nice toast on the buns. I'm going to go ahead and put some of these down. Yeah, that's a good one. We'll get ready to plate here in just a second. Again, you're looking for interesting buns when you go to the grocery store or the bakery.
Maybe the movie board.
They don't necessarily have to be Italian buns or anything like that. Thanks, Billy. I can tell you the charcoal is still plenty hot.
Cowboy's good stuff. It's got a great flavor.
Yeah, you could if you wanted to. Also from Western Wood, you know, they make chunks you could lay in here. This isn't really cooking long enough to absorb a lot of the extra smoke flavors that you could get from those chunks. But you know, cherry might go well with this.
You want these on the board?
Yeah, go ahead and put them on the board for me. Thank you. All right, and these are about done. Did you check those? Did you check the cookies?
Yeah, they're still cooking.
This one is ready to roll. I'll go ahead and do this one.
And these will need to sit once you take the cookies off. So these are probably not going to have time to be taken off without falling apart because they need to set up a little bit. So I've got some that we cooked a little bit earlier before we started, and those are the ones we'll show you how they look.
So getting the chicken, the tomato, the basil, and the mozzarella. Is there any order to do it in necessarily? I don't know. The Italian flag certainly has an order to it when you look at it, but I kind of like the cheese up top. You could do it a little bit differently if you'd like. Again, so we got the chicken, which was brined, right, in salt and Italian seasonings for a couple hours, then let it air dry in the fridge. Sliced tomato, fresh basil, fresh buffalo mozzarella, and then I'm going to add a kick with our True Gold mustard sauce. That balsamic vinegar in it is really going to do something extra special. Just kind of drizzle that over and put that on. So that's sandwich number 1. See how we are with the rest. Yep.
Trying to be a
Good.
little neat.
One thing I forgot to do for the beans is I did, before I used that lemon, I zested it. You can get some lemon zest on the beans as well. Add a little more pop. I think we are ready. Go some more.
Make it easier for you to plate them.
Thank you, sir. All right. Chicken, fresh tomato. These are beefsteak tomatoes that I got from the grocery store because they look the best. I'm going a little different this time. I'm going to do the mozzarella, then the basil. You really don't need, there's going to be a lot of flavor in the chicken. The brine gives it a lot. That hardened seasoning adds a lot to it as well. And then just come in and drizzle some of the mustard over it.
Behind you. You want
Couple
to
of
put some
sandwiches.
beans? Or are you going to leave the beans on the side?
Beans are over here. They're fine. I got them. All right. Your cookies about ready there?
Yeah, I
Joe?
got some cookies ready.
All
Let's
right.
see if you want to leave some room for them.
Yep. I'm gonna
Where you
put
wanna put
those up front, and then I'm going to cut this one open and see if we can get Lisa to come back over here and try it for us.
Now, one thing about these cookies is, especially if you put marshmallows in them, they sort of go a little wild. So they might not all come out round, as you can see where this one right here, but they taste really good.
Is it ready?
It's
I
ready.
am
Ready.
hungry.
So there you go. Feel free to bite into that one and tell us how it is.
Look at that. And learn a little bit about sandwich tasting here. You gotta squeeze it.
It's going to be juicy. Yeah.
That is delicious with the mustard.
I know. It's that balsamic vinegar and that mustard just takes it beyond any mustard sauce you would normally use. Just if you think mustard and you don't like mustard, this isn't even close to any mustard sauce on the market. That balsamic vinegar really makes the change.
That is absolutely delicious. I love it. A last little piece of cheese there. I'm gonna try over here. That is really, really good.
Thank you.
Can you substitute the meat if you want to?
Well, you know, it was originally started as a vegetarian dish, so you could do it without the chicken at all. You could
You could do
choose to
smoked tofu.
You could do smoked tofu on it and still use the mustard. You could use like a veal, grill that off.
Yeah.
The chicken, and you could use pork tenderloins.
Pork tenderloin.
Yeah.
well,
Probably wouldn't go the beef route,
Yeah,
but definitely
beef-
pork, chicken,
beef
veal
might
would
do
be
it.
really good.
So,
Okay. Hey, I want to grab a green bean here really fast.
oh yeah, and don't forget to try a cookie.
We are going to have some really good eating here. This is totally awesome. I'm just going to be talking and eating at the same time like I do on the show. So, you try the cookie. Oh my goodness.
A lot of flavors in there.
I got everything right here. This is awesome. Well, I'm going to continue eating. But thank you so much for joining us. And we'll see you next time on BAMBQ Live.